What if that nagging feeling in the back of your neck was real? What if those hands reaching out from the dark that you believed were there were there? What if the monster in the basement really existed? And what if there was really something under the bed? Would you have the courage to face your fears?
Hello, brave souls. Today, I've got another part of the Alaskan zombie incident that we worked on last week. I apologize ahead of time if you hear my son in the background. He's playing VR in the other room. But I wanted to tell the story while my voice still felt good and while I was awake. Usually I do these at night, and I have a day to actually do this during the day, so let's try it out. Chapter 5. Evolution. Days blended into nights as Sarah, Yuki, and Alexei worked tirelessly in the confines of their shelter. The changes in their bodies continued, subtle but undeniable. Enhanced night vision, improved reflexes, and a heightened sense of smell were just the beginning. Sarah stood before a makeshift mirror, examining her reflection. Her skin had taken on a slightly grayish hue, and fine, almost imperceptible scales had begun to form along her hairline. She flexed her hands, noting the increased strength and slight elongation of her nails. "Remarkable," she murmured, her scientific curiosity momentarily overriding her fear. Yuki looked up from her workstation, where she'd been analyzing their latest blood samples. "The virus is rewriting our DNA at a cellular level, but it's like nothing what happened to the others. It's as if the treatment created a symbiosis between the virus and our bodies." Alexei joined them, his movements fluid and predatory in a way that would have been unsettling if Sarah hadn't been experiencing the same changes. "We're becoming something new," he said, his voice a mix of awe and trepidation. "But what?" Before anyone could respond, a loud thud from outside made them all freeze. They'd heard similar noises over the past few days, but had attributed them to the settling of snow and ice. This time, however, it was followed by an all-too-familiar growl. "Impossible," Yuki whispered, her eyes wide with fear. "Nothing could have survived that bombing." Sarah moved silently to the small window, her enhanced night vision piercing the darkness outside. What she saw made her blood run cold. Several figures moved through the snow, their movements jerky yet purposeful. They were unmistakably infected, but they seemed different, more coordinated, more dangerous. "They've evolved too," Sarah said, her voice barely audible. "The bombing must have accelerated their mutations somehow." Alexei joined her at the window, his face grim. "They're hunting us. They can probably smell us from miles away." The reality of their situation sank in. They were trapped in a small shelter with limited supplies, surrounded by a hostile environment and an enemy that was growing stronger by the hour. "We need a plan," Yuki said, her voice steadier than Sarah expected. "We can't stay here forever." Sarah nodded, her mind racing. "You're right. We need to find a way to communicate with the outside world, to let them know what's happening here. But more importantly, we need to complete our research. If we can understand how the virus is changing us, we might be able to develop a true cure." As they discussed their options, a new sound cut through the howling wind, the rhythmic thud of helicopter blades. For a moment, hope surged through Sarah. Had help finally arrived? But as the sound grew closer, dread replaced hope. Through the window, they could see a black helicopter approaching, unmarked and menacing. It was clear this was no rescue mission. "They're here to clean up loose ends," Alexei said, his voice tight with anger, "to make sure nothing survives to threaten their precious secret." Sarah made a split-second decision. "Grab everything essential. We're leaving, now." They quickly packed their vital research materials and what supplies they could carry. As the helicopter landed in the distance, they slipped out the back of the shelter into the frigid night. The cold bit into their skin, but their altered physiology allowed them to withstand it better than before. They moved swiftly and silently through the snow, their enhanced senses alert for any signs of pursuit. Behind them, they could hear the shouts of armed men and snarls of the infected as the two groups clashed. The night erupted into gunfire and screams. As they crested a hill, Sarah paused to look back. The scene below was chaos. Trained soldiers fighting a losing battle against creatures that were once human. The helicopter lay on its side, flames licking at its fuselage. We can't let either side win, Sarah said, her voice filled with grim determination. If the infected spread, it's the end of humanity as we know it. But if those men take our research, who knows what horrors they might create? Yuki and Alexia nodded in agreement. They were no longer just scientists or survivors. They had become something else. Perhaps humanity's last hope, or its eventual successors. As they turned away from the battle and headed in the vast Alaskan wilderness, Sarah felt a strange sense of purpose. They were carrying not just the key to understanding the virus, but possibly the future of human evolution itself. The path ahead was uncertain and fraught with danger. But as the first rays of dawn broke over the horizon, Sarah allowed herself a moment of hope. Whatever they had become, whatever challenges lay ahead, they would face them together. And somewhere in the back of her mind, a new instinct stirred. Primitive yet evolved. Terrifying yet exhilarating. The hunt was on, and they were no longer the prey. Well, that's what we got for today. I hope you enjoyed the story. I have at least 4 more chapters done after this one, so I will be sharing those as soon as I get them recorded and set up. I hope you enjoyed the story. I love the idea of, like I said before, I love this weird thing. It almost feels like that Doom movie where like part of them were good people and part of them were bad people after they were infected. And I'm really excited to share the rest of the story with you guys. But again, thank you for listening, and I'll catch you next time. And remember to always face your fears. Want to say bye? Say bye.
Bye.